What's up guys, Mickle here, and if you thought there might be a settlement in the Ripple SEC case for the ongoing charges that were not decided at summary judgment, well I think that came firmly off the table earlier today. In this video, I want to show you a savage response Ripple just put on Twitter in response to the SEC's case against them. Guys, this thing was absolutely fantastic. Ripple rips apart the SEC in this video and proves that they are bad faith actors trying to attack the cryptocurrency industry. If you have not seen this video, trust me, you are definitely going to want to see this. I was blown away when I saw it this morning. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, so make sure to stick around for this. Towards the end of the video though, I also want to show you an inside scoop we just got from a member of Coinbase talking about what the SEC was demanding of them before the SEC filed their case, and also a lawsuit the SEC just brought against a player in the cryptocurrency industry that I actually agree with. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video to see that. You are not going to want to miss it. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. If you enjoy these videos, make sure to take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's really going to help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So I need to start out this video with the clip that Ripple and Stuart Alderati put on Twitter earlier today, because this thing was absolutely fantastic and calls out the SEC for pushing their theory that the cryptocurrency, the coin itself, can be the security. Now, when Ripple put this out and I watched it the first time, I was shocked with how brutal they were in this video. They rip into the SEC and completely expose their bad faith tactics. The one thing I will say about this video though is when I first saw this, I instantly knew that any settlement talks were off the table between Ripple and the SEC, because this thing was so savage, it was so hard hitting at the SEC. I just cannot imagine they would put something out like this in the middle of settlement negotiations. Listen up to this though and you can decide for yourself, but this thing was absolutely awesome and really pushes a critical message to the entire cryptocurrency industry, and one that I don't think the SEC is gonna like a lot at all. Listen up.
What do digital assets have to do with orange groves, barrels filled with whiskey, payphones? Who remembers those? And beavers? Well, it turns out a lot. None of those things, standing alone, are securities, but any one of them can be packaged into a contract for an investment that may be a security. Huh? Let me break this down a bit. The law lists a bunch of things that are securities. That list includes things you ordinarily think of, like a share of stock. Why is a share of stock always a security? If you own a share of stock in, let's say, Apple owes you a fiduciary duty, and you can hold Apple accountable if they don't fulfill those obligations. That's true no matter how you bought the stock or who sold it to you. But the law also includes something called an investment contract in the list of things considered a security. An investment contract is not like a traditional share of stock. And anyone who tells you that, well, let's just say they're trying to confuse you. Investment contracts are contracts that I sell to you with the promise that I'm going to take the money you gave me and do things to increase the value of your investment. I can take a bunch of orange groves and sell those to you. That's not an investment contract. Or I can sell you some of those orange groves as part of a larger set of promises to cultivate those groves, sell the oranges, and distribute the profits back to you. That's an investment contract. So, orange groves alone, whether I sell them to you or you buy them on an exchange, no investment contract. The very same orange groves, coupled with a promise that I sell directly to you, that I am going to work to make those orange groves profitable, that entire bundle of promises is an investment contract and therefore a security. But the orange groves alone are still just orange groves. Some would like you to think that a digital token can in and of itself be a digital asset security. It can't. Standing alone, it's just a commodity or a virtual currency. As a virtual currency, you may use it for a payment. As a commodity, you may trade it like gold or oil or pork bellies. Confused? Well, I don't blame you because some have been doing their best to confuse you for years. Because the Securities and Exchange Commission only has jurisdiction over securities, not orange groves, and they don't like that. Like a hammer, they want everything to be a nail. But the law doesn't work that way. While retail holders of crypto certainly deserve protection from bad actors, not all roads lead to the SEC. Pretending to have jurisdiction when there is none is simply a political power play. It helps no one. It hurts everyone. Remember, a token by itself, not an investment contract, despite what the SEC would have you believe. I hope that helps.
So as you could probably tell, that video was absolutely fantastic and hits home at one of the core issues. The SEC is trying to make up new laws. They are trying to call cryptocurrency securities despite the fact that everything in the law tells us they aren't. Stuart Alderati breaks down the biggest weakness in the SEC's case against Ripple, and that was that the XRP token itself was the security. The SEC has been trying to push this conspiracy theory for the last couple years because they want control of digital assets, and they don't like that the law does not give them control of digital assets. Ultimately, I thought Ripple's response here was spot on. It makes it crystal clear to all the people who can't wrap their head around how this works exactly why the coin itself is never the security. Still to this day, I hear people mixing this up all the time, and this clip right here is just a very good way, a clear-cut example of why that theory falls apart. Now, the SEC knows all this. They are just trying to push ambiguity to the market, but this right here is going to be something they are not going to be able to fight. This was an absolutely awesome video by Ripple and Stuart Alderati. The one thing I will say is, like I said earlier in the video, this let me know instantly a settlement was not on the table. I mean, this was a massive slap in the face to the SEC. It hits home at one of their biggest vulnerabilities. So despite the fact that I love this video, I don't like the fact that that means we aren't getting a settlement. Either way though, when you have a rogue regulator like the SEC, it's almost impossible to play nice. The SEC has no intention of ever doing anything to help this industry in the slightest. A settlement would obviously be the best thing for Ripple. That's probably why they're avoiding it. So I think this was the next best thing. Like John Deaton once said, when you're dealing with a bully, sometimes you just gotta punch him in the nose. This is exactly what Ripple did here, and I think they did an outstanding job. So I want to move on and cover two other things that are happening right now. And in classic SEC fashion, we were just talking about how they were a bad regulator. Take a listen to this. The SEC told Coinbase before they filed their case against Coinbase, hey, we won't file this case against you if you delist every single asset on your platform other than Bitcoin. This is a shocking statement by the SEC and just shows what their true intentions are on this industry. They want to attack it full force. They want to shut the entire thing down. And this is a blatant contradiction of what the SEC has done in the past. The SEC has came out multiple times. Gary Gensler himself and said, not every single coin is a security. There are many that aren't. Gary Gensler said 75% of the market is not securities. Jay Clayton said payment tokens are not securities. Gary Gensler also approved Coinbase's IPO, meaning that he probably thought most of their business was legit. And now what do we see? We see the SEC just trying to threaten Coinbase with legal action, try to say, oh, do what we say or we'll sue you, and use the threat of enforcement as a nuclear bomb on the industry. This is absolutely disgusting. It shows that the SEC has no intention of providing clear rules, no intention of actually allowing these assets to register or work proactively with the government. No, instead, the only thing they want to do is try to tear it down, try to put roadblocks in, and try to do whatever they can to actually kill projects trying to do the right thing. This is just absolutely insane. And Meta Law Man points out something very important. This is why the Supreme Court has the major questions doctrine. This means that political appointees can't go out and remake the laws. They can't go out and attack industries that have ambiguity. The major questions doctrine is something that's been brought up a lot recently. It's going to be a huge problem for the SEC. And like Meta Law Man says right here, this is a blatant example of the SEC explicitly violating this. I think this is going to get them in some deep trouble later down the road. And this statement right here just tells you all you need to know about the SEC's intention. Now, with all that bashing of the SEC, I guess I can finish this video off with one compliment. Just today, the SEC actually went after Richard Hart and the Hex chain. Now, I have never talked about this project on this channel. To me, it's always been a blatant scam. I didn't even want to give it the light of day, but today the SEC actually finally went after it. Now, they went after it way too late. They had so much time to actually shut this thing down before it got so many investors into it. So I can't give the SEC that much credit, but ultimately I'm just happy they're actually going after an actual scam. The SEC has wasted so much taxpayer dollars, so much time and resources going after companies like Ripple and Coinbase and Library. It's a total joke. Finally, we have the SEC actually going after a bad actor in the industry, which is at least a good sign going forward. And funny enough, in this case, the SEC doesn't even try to make the case that the Hex token itself is the security. The main reason they're probably not doing this is because Ripple and Stuart Alderati have exposed their dirty tactics. It is becoming obvious to everyone, even the SEC, that you can't make the argument that the token itself is the security. It doesn't make sense, it doesn't work, and it's contrary to the law. What we see is now even the SEC going after these bad actors are scared to make these type of arguments because ultimately the same thing could happen to them in the Ripple case where this one false statement destroys the validity of the rest of their case. I think it just shows the power of what Ripple did to the SEC. The SEC had an easy case, and now they're going in with their tail between their legs. I think they're doing the right thing here going after Hex. I actually do support this, but I am happy to see the SEC has really been knocked off their throne by Ripple. And if that loss wasn't bad enough, then I'm sure Gary Gensler is having a really hard time watching this circulating and going viral on Twitter right now. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. And for now, Mickle out.